Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me, Werner, and for calling me magnificent. My name is Abby Fuller. I do DevOps at Airtime. And before I get a little bit into what we've built with AWS, a little bit of background on what Airtime itself is. So Airtime is a new social experience. So we're trying to let your real friends share real moments in real time through group video, messaging, and more. And I think like pretty much any other app out there, it's a little easier if we can demonstrate rather than just listen to me talk. So can we cue the first video, please? Cool. So Airtime is designed to be an intimate space. So you should be able to share your conversations with your real friends in real time. So you can hit the signal button, which pulls your friends into the room. And then once you're there, you can chat with up to 6 people at once. Once you're live, you can do things like share songs, videos, photos, and see your friends' reactions to that in real time. So you can share a YouTube playlist, your favorite Spotify song, clips from SoundCloud, all that great stuff. And it should really feel like you're hanging out in the apartment with your friends. So we have a lot of features, though. And with a lot of features can come a couple of challenges. And we've identified 2 of the big ones that we think really impact us the most, and I think they probably apply to a lot of you guys as well, but that's speed and scale. So let's take a look at speed. Can we cue the second video, please? Awesome. So you can see our product vision here. So really fast, really seamless messaging and co-consumption of media. So Airtime should feel like it's the next best thing to hanging out with your friends in real time. So real life doesn't have lag, delays, buffering. Those all interrupt our product vision, and they all interrupt your Airtime experience as well. So if I'm sitting on the couch with my friend Nate and we're looking at videos from a concert that we went to last week, there's no pause there, and there shouldn't be this whole delay while I text and then wait and see if he answers it when he's at work or not. It should really feel like we're hanging out in real time and sharing that experience rather than just kind of going over it asynchronously after the fact. Cool. So next up for us is scale. Speed doesn't matter at all. So you can have the fastest app in the world if you can only support a couple of people at once. So for us, on the AWS side, this means that all of our infrastructure, it needs to be multi-availability zone, and it needs to be multi-region. So we understand that your friends and family aren't in one place, and Airtime should help you feel like you're hanging out with them in real life, even when plane tickets are too expensive. Like most other apps, our traffic also varies throughout the day. So we generally have up to 10 times more traffic at peak times than at slow times. So we need to scale back up, and then we're a small startup, so we don't want to spend a ton of money. So then we want to scale down really seamlessly to save costs after the fact. So a couple months ago, we took a hard look and said, OK, so with speed and scale in mind, what do we have right now from an infrastructure perspective, and what do we not like about it? And we identified a couple of main pain points for us. So first off, our application design, as Werner called out, is monolithic. It was really hard to roll changes, and it was really hard to optimize for performance. We also had bottleneck deployments. So only a couple people could deploy. So I could be the most productive developer in the whole company. And if I didn't have access to deploy, I had to still find a member of the DevOps team. We also found that the monolith meant that a single issue could cause system-wide failure, which was really hard to diagnose. And finally, we had inconsistencies between our local developer environments and staging and production. So these are all solvable problems, right? So we took a big look at this and said, OK, you know what? We're going to rebuild the whole thing. So what do we actually want? We have goals. So first, user experience above all. So deployment should be 0 downtime. Servers should be redundant. Traffic should be distributed. We needed to set ourselves up for scaling success. So we need to be able to scale intelligently to support varying traffic, and we need to be able to balance requests between our servers. We needed cattle, not pets. So some people have heard this before, but if I have a dog named Fido, I'm really attached. But if I have a whole herd of cattle, I don't necessarily know the name of each cow out there. And we felt the same way about servers. So they should be redundant and replaceable, not named Fido, and replacing them should be automatic. And we needed developer efficiency. So tests and deployments should be seamless and automatic, and environments should be consistent, all the way from the first developer vagrant environment up to production. And I will be the first person to admit that these goals are not particularly original. They apply to pretty much any company out there, whether you're a 2-person startup still or the biggest enterprise. But we wanted the best experience possible, both for our developers and for our end users. So we made this decision to overhaul. And from the beginning, there's been a couple of tenets that have kind of stuck with us from the beginning. And the first is that we've always been on AWS. And we've always kept our core language, which is Node.js, the same. And this has let us keep our velocity really high, even though we have a really small startup team. The biggest change that we made, though, was obviously switching from our old monolith to container-based microservices, which in the Airtime case is Docker on top of Amazon's ECS. So why containers and why CSES in the first place? So the big thing for us with Amazon, and I think with a lot of other startups out there, is the whole idea of shared responsibility. So we have a really small team. So what we can do is we can share responsibility for Amazon with some of our tasks. So checking for resource usage, health checks, monitoring. We trust that if we set things up properly on our side and integrate properly with AWS, Amazon will tell us if something's wrong, and we can focus on our product. You also got the native integration with other AWS products. So with ECS, you get the native integration with load balancers and Route 53, which meant that we could do things like hit our 0 downtime deployment goal and rolling deployments by using some of those features that were already baked into load balancers. And finally, monolith versus microservices is worth a whole debate in and of itself. But suffice to say, for us, the big initial selling point was that containers are atomic. So we could be consistent all the way from a dev environment to production by boxing all of our changes to these containers, so we could follow that same feature, that same change, all the way from local to production. And that eliminates kind of the whole argument of, well, this worked locally, and now production's on fire. So looking forward, though, we can't stop here. So we're still a growing startup, and we need to solve new challenges each and every day. And one of the ways that we're doing this is by using more AWS products to help us grow. When we started using ECS originally, it was barely out of beta, and they add new features almost as quickly as we do. We also need to keep learning. So as we learn more about our growth and our users, we still want to keep speed and scale in mind so that we can keep optimizing everything to deliver the best possible experience. So finally, working with AWS has let us put more focus on building an awesome product and less on worrying about our infrastructure. Thank you.